This year's Oscars won't include a popular film category like the Academy once proposed, but many of your favorites will still be there. Campaigning for an Oscar takes a lot of work, but nothing like the work that went into actually making the movie. From groundbreaking visual effects, to daring stunts, to layers of makeup, there's a lot to admire from this year's Oscar nominees. Here's what 2019's Oscar nominees looked like behind the scenes. Few movies in the last decade have altered our culture as much as Black Panther did in 2018. Its showing at the Oscars proves that it took blockbuster filmmaking to new heights. The movie involves a lot of demanding stunt work from the cast for each intense fight scene. Yes, Denai Guerrero really did use a wig as a defense mechanism, and yes, Chadwick Boseman did kick a guy across a field, with the help of a few wires. Meanwhile, Michael B. Jordan went to set every day and was covered in around 3,000 prosthetic dots. Makeup artist Joel Harlow told us the fake scars were made to withstand the actor's more physical scenes, as well as the ones where he got wet. And a studio in Atlanta was convincingly transformed into Wakanda. That space came complete with bustling city streets and a waterfall that would become Warrior Falls. Horror movies are often overlooked during awards season, but this box office and critical success was too impressive for the Oscars to ignore. While the movie produced scares from its lack of sound, the ways it did use sound were impressive. The film's sound team used a strange array of objects to make Foley sound. Crab legs perfectly captured the sound of the monsters walking. A combination of celery and romaine lettuce would make the sound of an ear opening. To figure out the monster's spine-chilling echolocation sounds, the team did some experimenting and discovered the best way to do it was by tasering a patch of grapes and then slowing the sound down. There'll always be a place for period pieces at the Oscars. The historical epic, centering around Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth I, and starring Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan, is notable for its costumes, makeup, hairpieces, and sets. The movie was shot on location around the United Kingdom and Scotland. The stars acted with a literal army of extras. The Favorite plays a bit more fast and loose with history, but it still flawlessly immerses the audience in 18th century British aristocratic life. The costumes and wigs are eye-popping and elaborate. The movie was shot at Hatfield House in England. They stripped many of the beautiful rooms in the palace and built a massive bath as well as Abigail's room. The reception of First Man, which chronicles Neil Armstrong's trip to the moon, was mixed. But one thing nobody can deny is that it's visually stunning. Its set pieces are as historically accurate as possible. Production designer Nathan Crowley told us that the lunar module and space capsule were built to scale. Meanwhile, the Saturn V model seen in the movie was actually just 14 feet tall. That's about 1/25th the size of the actual rocket. Some of the models could even move. In some scenes, to convincingly replicate zero gravity, they put the camera below the actors, a technique that has been used in many movies set in space. The moon landing sequence, which was shot in IMAX, will actually make you feel like you're walking on the moon. Some parts of this sequence were shot in a quarry. Other parts were shot on a very convincing looking soundstage. The stunts were equally impressive. Gosling allowed himself to be launched out of a capsule and then got dragged around in the movie's most daring stunt. What sets A Star Is Born apart is that all the concert scenes were filmed live, and Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga are always performing together. Even for two people as talented as them, they still had to rehearse a lot. A big part of the production was sound editing, which required layering multiple sounds in a single scene, including the vocals, all of which were sung live. Wes Anderson's second stop-motion animated feature was one of the best animated movies of 2018. It's staggering just to look at the numbers behind the movie. Isle of Dogs animators were working with around 1,105 puppets on set. A single sushi-making sequence from the movie took 6 to 8 months to bring to life. Animators, meanwhile, had to use pins and wooden sticks to move the dog's eyeballs and lips around to make the characters move realistically. The animators even painstakingly moved the fur around to give the impression that dog's fur was blowing in the wind. Stop-motion animation requires faces to get changed out for each different mood and emotion. Andy Gent, the head of the movie's puppet department, told us that the character's fur made this process much more difficult than usual. Marvel's most ambitious movie yet didn't quite get the same awards love as Black Panther, but it still managed to make an appearance. The biggest standout technical aspect of the latest Avengers was Josh Brolin's towering performance as Thanos. The actor performed in a motion capture suit for a character who would then be created using CGI. Because Thanos is so tall, Brolin often acted with an object on top of his head. That way, actors would know where exactly they should be looking. Motion capture technology has gotten so good that Thanos felt real. Honestly, it's about time the Academy starts taking motion capture performances more seriously. The long-awaited sequel involved a cast of very committed actors. Meanwhile, production designers created a very accurate version of 1930s London inside a studio. For this shot, in which Mary Poppins falls into a bathtub, they built a giant slide beneath the tub that Emily Blunt had to slide down backwards.